I've always been fascinated by the things that go bump in the night. The moments that make you question whether the world is as safe as it seems. Today I'm going to share 3 true horror stories. These are not urban legends or myths. They are real experiences told by people who lived through them. Each one is disturbing in its own way, and by the end you might find yourself looking over your shoulder. It all started when a young woman, let's call her Emily, moved into a small apartment in a quiet part of the city. It was her first place alone, and she was thrilled. The building was old, but the rent was cheap, so she didn't think much about the creaking floors or the dim hallway lights. First, everything seemed normal, but a few nights after moving in, she started hearing noises from the apartment above hers. Sounded like footsteps pacing back and forth. Constantly. At first, she shrugged it off. Maybe it was a neighbor, she thought. Then the noises started getting stranger. She would hear soft thuds, like someone dropping something heavy, but always at 3:15 a.m. exactly, every night. One night, Emily decided to investigate. She knocked on the upstairs door. No answer. Just silence. She tried again. Still nothing. The apartment above was supposedly empty, according to the landlord. That night, she set up a small voice recorder in her living room. She woke up the next morning to listen. Her heart stopped. The recording caught whispers. Low, guttural whispers saying things like, "She knows," and "She shouldn't be here." Panicking, Emily called the landlord. The landlord insisted again that the apartment was empty and had been for months. She moved out that same day, but the memory of those whispers, and the feeling that she was being watched, stayed with her. And to this day, Emily swears she can still hear the pacing when she drives by that building at night. A man named Tom was driving home late one night along Route 9, a long stretch of highway notorious for empty roads and dense woods. It was raining, visibility was low, and the streetlights were few and far between. Halfway through his drive he saw her, a young woman drenched in rain standing on the shoulder. She looked terrified, and without thinking, he pulled over to give her a ride. First she was quiet. Then she began whispering about someone following her, someone who wanted to hurt her. Tom tried to reassure her. He asked her where she was going. She only shook her head. Suddenly she pointed out the window and said, "There. He's behind us." Tom looked in the rearview mirror. Nothing. Just empty road and dark trees. Minutes later she leaned over and said, "Don't turn around, please." Her voice was almost a whisper, trembling with fear. Tom felt a chill run down his spine. Finally, she told him to stop at an abandoned gas station up ahead. As soon as he did, she ran inside. Tom waited a moment, then realized something horrifying. When he drove past the gas station the next day, it had been abandoned for over 20 years. No electricity, no phone, no way someone could have been inside. Tom never found out who or what he had picked up that night. He never drove Route 9 alone again. The last story comes from a small town in the Midwest. A teenage girl, let's call her Sarah, was babysitting 2 young kids while their parents went out for the evening. Everything was normal at first. She fed the kids, put them to bed, and settled on the couch to watch TV. Around 10 p.m., she received a call on the house phone. "Hi, this is the parents. We just wanted to check in," said the voice on the other end. Sarah relaxed, said everything was fine, and hung up. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. Same number. "Everything okay?" the voice asked. Sarah laughed nervously. "Yes," she said. But then she noticed something strange. The voice wasn't saying anything new. It was repeating exactly what she had just said. She hung up again. The calls kept coming. Panic started to set in. Finally, she called her friend for advice. Her friend asked, "Are you at home?" Sarah laughed nervously. "Yes, why?" Her friend went silent, then whispered, "Sarah, the call is coming from inside the house. Terrified, Sarah grabbed the kids and ran to a neighbor's house. The police arrived and found footprints leading from the back door to the living room. But no one was there. The phone lines had been cut, but somehow the caller had been inside the house all along. Sarah moved away soon after. And she still has nightmares about hearing that same voice, repeating everything she says. Those were 3 terrifying true horror stories that will haunt you. Each one reminds us that sometimes, the things we fear the most aren't just in our imagination. They're real. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories.